Welcome to the stage. Touch podcast. Welcome to the stage. Tag team strikes, we connect through the pain. Rolling two dice in the echoes of rain. Hope in my chest, fear in my hand. Armor all cracked, but we taking a stand. Stress building up like the stories we weave. Every experience a mark that we leave. Connection questions mark where we've grown. Not just in combat, but when we're alone. From campaign frames to memories lost. We paying for the truth, but never count the cost. This is Sage Touch. This is Sage Touch. Let the sage. Welcome to the stage. This is Sage Touch.
Most people skip session 0, and campaigns die because of it. Today, we are going to be talking about session 0. Can you guys remember the first time we did a session 0 and how horrible it was, and how really it wasn't a session 0?
Kinda. It's been a while since
It
the
started
first
with
one.
me just saying, "Hey, do you guys want to play Dungeons and Dragons?"
Dungeons and Dragons?
No, for me, it wasn't even that. It was, hey, do you want to play make believe, build your own character, Lord of the Rings? I said, sure, why not? Yeah. But it wasn't really like, that was like, is that really what session 0 was though? Like,
I
that
mean,
was
at
just
the
an
time,
invitation, I think.
I think session 0 at that point in time was just, hey, can I get you on board to learn how to play D&D? Because
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. And that was
Yeah.
pretty much all we got.
And in reality, those characters made no sense. Like, story-wise, we just played the adventure. Which is
No.
why I think when we actually do session 0s and actually talk about what we're going to be going to the campaign, it really kind of makes the whole game better overall. Like, just starting, it's like when you start with actually taking a step instead of just like falling flat. Session 0s just make it so much better.
Yeah. I think that first session we had, like, the same guy die, build a new character, and then die again in like 2 sessions.
Maybe. Which I guess really drops the question for everyone else. For those in the audience, have you ever run a session 0? Let us know in the comments down below if you have, if you haven't, if you've never even heard of it, and how it went. We just want to know.
Yeah. Well, no.
But before we get into what we're getting into today, you should probably know who we are. We are obviously Bladebound Saga. We are a channel that predominantly talks about TTRPGs. We do a little bit of Magic the Gathering. We do a little bit of other stuff, but mostly it's TTRPGs. And of TTRPGs, mostly it's Daggerheart.
Yeah. If it's nerdy, we probably have some experience in it at some point in time. 'Cause that's what we do. We're nerds.
That's fine. We're just screwing the intros up today. That's okay, everyone.
Unhinged. We're unhinged
that first
today.
person
Sorry.
who just tried to transition us, that was Adam. The
That's-
one who
yeah.
just
Adam.
talked, that was AJ. And I'm Daniel. You're just your GM most of the time. Welcome to Sage Touched, everyone. Let's just jump into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of this intro. It's cursed, dude.
This is cursed. It's fine. Session 0. We just did a session 0, so we're probably pros at this by now.
We're pros at
Totally.
everything. I don't know what you're talking about. We are.
Totally.
I don't know why we haven't been invited as guests onto like Critical Role yet. I'm just saying, if you watch us, hit me up. I'll be in LA soon. You get my. We'll exchange information. It's fine.
Ugh, great.
Anyways.
Anyways, what's the core idea behind a session 0? Why, from a player standpoint? Because I feel like the session 0 is always like keyed up by the GM, but from a player standpoint, when someone says, "Hey, let's do a session 0," what does that mean for you two? Because I actually don't know what that means from a player perspective, because I'm always GMing them.
So for me, it is to get an idea of what everyone wants to play. Just get an idea of like what kind of characters they want to play, classes, races, stuff like that. But then kind of get like at least a short idea of the sort of backstory that they have. And I'm a big proponent of play what you want, but you kind of want to at least vibe a little bit together, right? You don't want the like I said, I guess you could, but you just want to make sure your party has some sort of cohesion, in my opinion. So if you have a character idea that may not work at this moment, save it for a later campaign. And go with a different idea. Yeah, for me, it's just really trying to figure out what the vibe is of the group and trying to just build a semi-cohesive party there. Because for one, I mean, you don't really go like oops all bards, right? I mean, you probably could,
You
but
probably could, and we definitely have.
So I think that's definitely like part one of it. Part two is figuring out what kind of world you're about to drop into. Because I don't want to build a character that's like dark, edgy backstory, because that's what I'm going to do given complete
Anyways.
freedom.
Mhm.
But if I'm dropping into a world of fun, zany beast feast, everyone's, silly gooses and we're just having a good time. Silly geese. Sorry, that was rough.
Yeah,
I don't
gooses.
want to bring that in because it just doesn't make sense. On the flip side, I don't want to bring in Boblin the Goblin to some like Dark Souls-esque type of campaign. Just depending on what the overall vibe is of the table. I want to make a character that will fit in with that and make
Mhm.
sense.
So I think that's interesting because from a GM's perspective, it's here's the world, but I also don't, as a GM, like now that I've been playing a lot more narrative-based games, I don't think I sit on that realm of here's my world, now make characters in it. I feel like sometimes that's what a lot of people go into session 0 for, but I think for a lot more narrative games and at least for a lot more collaborative games, it's kind of hey, what is our world? What are
Mhm.
we trying to bring into it? Because I've definitely had sessions where I've built out this whole druidic land and then everyone's like, yeah, I don't want to play druid." And then I've
Give
had
me
other games
steampunk.
where it's just like it's just you get people who jump into session 0, and I think what session 0 isn't, it's not just character creation. It
Yeah.
is kind of rule 0. What are we getting ourselves into? What do we
Mhm.
want us to get into? It's where we actually as a group make a decision. That being said, I've definitely been a part of session 0s that happened after a one shot, then
Oh,
that
yeah.
became more, but more often than not it starts with the rule 0 of like, let's set expectations for what we want of the campaign.
Yeah, I was gonna kinda touch on that a little bit too, because our home group has played together for what? I mean, like 10 years at this point.
We're getting
Um,
there, I think.
yeah, but if if you're starting a campaign with maybe people you've never played with, that session 0 is really important because it gives everyone the expectation of what's like at for the table. Like the hard nose stuff that you don't wanna see, stuff that you're maybe uncomfortable with, the safety tools, all that sort of stuff should be discussed there. And so then that's really important because at the end of the day, the whole point of this is for everyone to have a good time. And just because I'm okay with, chopping heads off of goblins, maybe someone isn't. And I can go ahead and change my thought process, like, okay, well, that's not gonna happen, so I'll find something else to do. So just make sure that everyone's there to have a good time.
Mhm.
I think those like first rules and like establishing that base is really important, especially if you're playing with people you've never played with before.
Which
Mhm.
then asks the question, it's like, do you feel like session 0s are intimidating then?
I
I
don't think they're
I
intimidating,
don't.
no. If anything, it's freeing so that when you get into the actual campaign and you hit session 1, you've already got a lot of the ground rules laid out. You know what you're stepping into. You've met the other players. You've already done your background question, your backstory. You understand their backstory. You understand how your characters are all meeting together or how long they've known each other. If anything, I would say it takes a lot of that pressure out of your session 1.
Yeah.
So maybe the session 0 could be intimidating to some people, but ultimately it's going to set you up for success for the rest of your campaign.
Yeah, it kind of takes away from the old hey, you guys are all just in a tavern meeting up and you randomly run into each other sort of thing that you see a lot in like, earlier D&D stuff, but Daggerheart kind of lends itself to not do that anyways. But session 0 is a good time to run those first set of connection questions. I may be going out of order a little bit, but I think it takes the pressure off of that session 1 because you already have a feel for everyone. Yeah, like Adam hit on the head.
Which then begs the question: are session zeros then even necessary? Because I guess we talked a little bit about why it's necessary, but I guess instead of was it necessary, it's like what is the thing, and really for the audience too, it's like what is the thing that kills a campaign that you need to make sure you address in session 0 so your campaign doesn't die? Because our home group has definitely had campaigns die.
We have.
But yeah.
I think, like I said, setting the expectation of it, seeing if people are like for real about it, because I've definitely have seen that where someone really wants to play, but then comes down to it's like, ooh, I actually don't have the time, or the resources, or whatever the reason may be. There's maybe something just external in the world that allows you to not be able to commit to something like that, and that's fine. You can find a table that works for you, but I think that's super important. Just one little bit of it.
And I think the other thing is like your session 0 will give you a good base point for kind of the vibe of the table and how we as human beings want to interact with each other, what our lines are, what our limits are. But like once you get into the campaign, those beats kind of change, especially when you do long form campaigns. It might start as a fun, silly, hey, happy-go-lucky light adventure, and then you're 5 levels in and you've kind of finished the first 2 story arcs, and it takes a natural shift to something a little bit darker and something a little bit more gritty. Like those adjustments, I think, can happen mid-campaign as well.
Which I think, AJ, you kind of nailed one other part that makes total sense. And I don't think players talk about this enough in the session 0, because I've been a part of session 0s as a player where we didn't talk about schedule and we just like, oh, we're expected to play. And then we don't end up meeting for like 2-3 months. And then it's like, okay, now we don't even know where our characters are. And I think not even just like schedule, like what day we're meeting, but how frequent we're meeting. What's the expectation for attendance? Like what happens if 2 people are out? Do we still run the session or do we pause and then we reschedule it to next month? Because the very real thing about session 0s is we all have lives outside of the game and we all have to adhere to the schedules of our day job, our contracting gig, or whatever, our family matters. Like there's so many things that if that doesn't get addressed in session 0, like what do you do about holidays? Like all those things with scheduling are pretty major that if you don't talk about it in session 0, which I think we may have failed at talking about that in our most recent session 0.
We may need to do a session 0, 1,
over
0, 1, 0,
1.5 over
1.5, whatever.
Over a group chat. Yeah.
I think it talks about this in the core book. The acronym CATS.
CATS.
CATS. It's a great acronym for your session 0. What CATS is, it's concept, aim, tone, and subject matter, which we kind of hit on all kind of sporadically, but that's kind of just a nice way to fit it all into one thing. But your concept of what the game is going to be. Are you, if you're playing Daggerheart, are you doing Age of Umbra? Are you doing Beast Feast? Are you doing Five Banners Burning? And then once you choose that, what to expect in that campaign frame, because your expectation for Beast Feast is going to be way different than Age of Umbra.
And I think the important thing is the concept is asking us, what is the big picture? What is this pitch? Like in Daggerheart, I think it really does a really good job of doing concept, especially if you're following one of the campaign frames, because you can literally just go to the campaign frame setting. Like I can just pull up Five Banners Burning right here and then just read the pitch and the tone and the themes and all these things. Like Five Banners Burning, it's going to be a political campaign. Do we want a political campaign? Does our group fit with a political campaign? Which our group, we decided no, does not fit.
We found out it didn't.
It does not fit.
We thought it did, but it didn't. That's okay.
It's one that I really wanted to run that one, but
someday.
Next
time.
But like it's one of those things, like you read a book you and this whole concept is the guiding star. Once everyone agrees this is the concept we're going with, then we can move on to, well, I guess the next part of cats. But this is really just like, are we playing science fantasy? Are we playing childhood friends? Are we playing treasure hunters? Like, what are we doing when we're at the table? So that way no one is on the wrong page.
Yeah. I'm still upset that we've yet to do Pirates as a home game. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
I would love to do Pirates
I love
again
Pirates.
and
Okay.
again.
I'll
and
be
again.
honest,
So-
pirates stress me out.
Wait, why do pirates
Pirates
stress you out?
stress me out, dude.
Do they really?
Because water and drowning. You're always on the open seas, and there's always like freaking monsters and stuff. You don't know how far can your character swim. I don't freaking know. I don't know. I don't like it.
Maybe that's why we've never done Pirates. then.
Maybe that's why we. Well, actually, we haven't done
I've
Pirates.
never voted
we also
against
have,
it, but
we have another player in our home game who does not, with a passion, want to do Pirates again because they
Do
were in a.
we?
Yeah, one of the other players.
Oh, the
ran
one that was
them
in
through
your.
Pirates.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah,
ran
yeah,
them
yeah.
through Pirates before for like 3 years, and they're like, "I'm done. Pirates is good.
That's
I'm locked
fair.
out of Pirates."
Fair enough.
So I mean, I get why our group doesn't.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair. I just like, I mean, like I said, if you've watched any of our content, you know that I lean towards the water for some reason. I don't know.
Dude, our
but-
first campaign or miniseries on the channel was called Scapegoat's Plunder.
yeah,
I wanna
was
go
six,
back.
It was 6 sessions. I
It
would
was
I
so
would run a
great.
whole campaign of Scapegoat's Plunder. Hey guys, if you want that, get us to
Shipwrecked
like,
on an island.
yeah,
Who are the
Shipwrecked on an
survivors?
yeah, guys. Hey guys, if you want to know who did the voice for that, he's somewhere. This guy named Adam. He does VO. He's really good.
Yeah, we'll put the
Um,
link to Scapegoat's Plunder for those who want to watch it down in the description.
I would do a whole nother campaign of that. I would do a real long-term campaign of that because that was really fun. Anyways, coming back on track.
Yeah.
cats.
we talked about the concept. Now we can talk about the aim, which is what the players are trying to accomplish. What
What does everyone
is-
want?
what does everyone want? What's
Yeah.
their goal?
Mhm.
Win, lose, tell a good story, fight a big baddie at the end. Do you want to be political? Do you want to just be murder hobos? All that stuff is kind of wrapped into there.
I think this one is really important because having the idea of, are we committing to a years-long campaign where we want to have major character development? The character I'm creating today, I want to be completely different and like grown and changed 2 years from now. Or like, do we want to just we get together, we do some combat, we fight some goblins, we fight some bigger goblins, we fight
Some even bigger goblins.
a bigger one later on, like some giants. I don't know. Or do we want something that has a lot of depth to it? A lot of like, there's no, we'll say there's a lot of gray area where you want to be the heroes, but sometimes the heroes don't really look like heroes. And that's an important thing to have at the beginning of what are we trying to get out of this campaign? Because I think we all know it's a lot of time committed to play TTRPGs. Just
Yeah.
a session by itself is going to be a couple hours minimum.
Yeah.
You get on that frequency, it's a lot to commit. So you want to get whatever you're looking to experience out of your sessions. And I think hitting the aim strong at the beginning can really set you up for success in that.
I think also like it's important to also talk about like, where is this campaign going to end? Like, is this something that is full on sandbox? Which I personally love sandboxes, but I've also run campaigns where like, this campaign's going to be 4 sessions. We're only going to be 4 sessions. Maybe you'll convince me of a 5th if you guys take forever. But for the most part, like saying it's going to be 4 sessions, levels 1 to 3, or to be a whole year. Our goal is to get to level 10 in a year. That's a lot of level stuff to get through in a year. That's all I'm saying from that side of things. So it's like being able to talk about the level expectations and what you said, time expectations, is a big thing for AIM too.
Yeah, I will say I did not expect our first campaign to end with my robot and AJ's elephant to be a part of a druidic conclave somehow.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's where it ended for us. So
Once again, session zeros. Your characters were outlanders from an unhinged society, and you were the only robots and elephants in this land. Or what was it? Loxodon, right? Loxodon and
Loxodon and Warforged.
And,
Warforged, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if we had an actual session 0, And I think that's the other thing too. It's like there are also some weird things that do happen because of Session Zero. Like people come in with like really weird character concepts, and it's like, ooh, how am I gonna fit that into the world? Which is important to name. It's like if your world is supposed to be gothic, like I have a City of the Crimson Court campaign setting, which we will cover at some point one of these days,
Yeah.
and showcase on the channel. But that campaign setting says there are only 7 vampires in the world. And somebody's like, I want to play a vampire. It's like, no, you're not. It's like that there's 7 of those things in the world, and they are what you're trying to kill. I mean, maybe there's something where it's like a half vampire blood has been in your family for years, whatever. You're the 8th vampire. Maybe there can be something there. But I think AIM is where we get those questions of like, what does everyone want? And does it actually fit with? And I think this is where Cats has to be like broken down. Concept has to be first, then AIM. If your
Yeah.
AIM clashes with concept, you have to assess from the GM's perspective as a person who's like moderating and running the game. Like you have to assess, can that AIM somehow work with the concept in conflict, or does that AIM need to be adjusted so it works in tandem with the concept? Lots of
Yeah.
cons.
Lots of cons. Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you, Daniel, kind of as a GM, like, how do you, like, I don't want to say handle trouble character players. I don't think they're. It's like I don't think they're a problem, but it's like, what do you do when you have someone just like have a super outlandish idea that that everyone else is like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with this concept and I'm cool with this aim, but you can't have one person that is like, I want to be this, and they're just not budging, or just like, how do you how do you handle that as the GM?
So I think there's 2 things that we have to talk about before we even go there or even
Okay.
get to that point, which is, do you build your characters before you get to the session? Because I think that question only comes into play when someone built their character before even understanding concept, right?
Yeah.
And so in a fully, what's it called? In a fully like using the Cats framework, that shouldn't happen because everyone's bought into the concept. That being said, to answer the question, to get to that, as a GM, me personally, and I know some GMs don't like this because their worlds are so well built, or so thorough. I'll say that. I have a very thorough homebrew world, but in Daggerheart with campaign frames, because it's so loose, I'm like, yeah, we can make that work. I can find a way.
I'll find a way.
Like
Sure.
genuinely, um, I'll throw out, and because I know they're gonna watch this episode, I'll throw out one of the players who decided to be a slime, um, who
Or an
ended up
ooze.
not being a slime. Like, first off, as a GM, I'm processing this with you all. It's like I'm learning your characters at the same time as everyone else at the table, most of the time, unless you work together with somebody. But someone wanted to play a slime. Then they backtracked that they wanted to be an elemental. And then they backtracked that they wanted to be a genasi because they started understanding the world. So I think the part there is, one, make sure as the GM to the player that you two are on the same page about what this world is. Because if you're not on the same page, you're going to have gothic Romanian vampire in SpongeBob. Which, to be fair, there is an episode of SpongeBob where there's a gothic Romanian vampire, but that's besides the point. But it is one of those things, like, you want to make sure you're on the same page. And is gothic Romanian vampire purposefully in the SpongeBob universe for the funds because it's supposed to be funny? Go for it. But if it's like one of those things where it's like SpongeBob in a gothic Romanian vampire world, that might not go as well because, one, you can kind of see like the irony of it and think it's funny, but the other way where it's like the expectation is serious, it's also hard to put scribble SpongeBob into
Yeah.
those
Doodle
settings,
Bob.
and you just have to have like a level conversation. Like I think from there, like, you really are just talking to your players as people. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't like being very blunt. I've said, like, I don't know if that works. I don't know if that's how that works in my mind. Or sometimes it's like, I think that conflicts with another player, and that's when I think I step in a little bit more. But most of the time, I will find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
story is written around the players, not the players are written
Yeah.
into the story.
Because I know, and coming back to the player side, I think players be willing to work with your GMs and vice versa when you're building your characters. I know, I mean, plenty of times I've gone to Daniel's like, hey, this is my character idea. What do you think? And then it's like, oh, what if we did this and this? And it's like, oh, that's cool. But what if we did this and this and this? I mean, I do that all the time and kind of come together. It's like, oh, well, now I have a cool character that not only that I understand, but the GM also has a really good understanding of because they kind of help build it, I guess. Um, but like even that sort of back and forth is can be really nice.
I think it's also important to say before we move on to T, because I can't remember what T is for a second. But before we move on to T, I think what you said too is also just as important, because just because you started creating it at session 0 doesn't mean you can't keep talking between session 0 and session 1. Like I have had players who like, hey, can you work on this? Like, think about what this looks like between session 0 and session 1. Send me a little bit of an update and let's message back and forth. Because most of the time you're here, you want to make the time at session 0 effective. Like, and this goes to like the moderating the session 0. Like, you want to make sure that everyone's here and spending that time effectively. So answering questions that'll answer the person directly and say, hey, I like that idea, let's develop it even further back and forth over the week, and then switching to another player who has like a very like detrimental question that needs to be answered at the moment. So you kind of have to manage that too, and you have nothing set in stone at session 0 when it comes to your characters.
I will say I normally don't make my characters prior to. This last time, because I've never played a sorcerer in Daggerheart, I was like, I'm playing a sorcerer. I already had that in my head, and it really made it hard to go backwards, to say I'm playing a sorcerer and then try to buy into concept and go back in order. I was like, this kind of sucks. I wish I didn't have this in my head already, because when it came to like making experiences, I was like, I don't even know what my freaking backstory is yet. Like, who is this dude? How can I make experiences on somebody that I haven't thought of really much about their life outside of like, oh, pretty like nondescript general things, and that made it pretty challenging.
And I don't think you have to, or I don't think you can't. I don't think you should come in thinking you're not allowed to make characters prior to session 0. I don't want that to be misconstrued.
Sure.
But what I think everyone should come into the session with is with a level of flexibility. Like, especially if someone's like, oh, I think I want to play a sorcerer. And then you have people like, I think I'm going to play a sorcerer too. Somebody should probably maybe even the party out a little bit.
Yeah.
Go for it.
At least pick a different subclass,
But
Hey,
at least think about it a little bit.
Yeah. I think being flexible is probably just the biggest thing with all that.
Yeah.
Because I built characters I've probably built over 100 characters at this point in Daggerheart alone, and it's I can't give you a method to build characters, because I've built characters because like, oh, I want to punch something, so I would start. That was my base, and
I want to be a monkey. I don't know what is next, but I know I want to be a monkey.
I literally said I want to be a moose one time, and I've never played a wizard, so I'm gonna figure that out. I just like
those are definitely easier one-shot characters to make, but yeah.
My moose wizard was kind of cool. But anyways, it's just it's coming. I think coming with an idea of like what you like, and because you're playing this long term, you want it to be a character that you enjoy, like the mechanics of, and enjoy the personality of it, because you can the personality kind of starts in session 0. Now it will change over the course of a campaign, like a lot, but you want to make sure, one, you're playing something that you enjoy, because you're dedicating a lot of time to this thing. And to some point, if you're playing like year-long campaigns, they kind of become a part of your life.
I have learned a lot from characters that I've played long term.
Yeah, I have my D&D characters' weapons like tattooed on me, because they're that big a part of my life, honestly, and learned a lot from myself and other people playing.
Yep.
So the next step for tone, this is kind of more semantical, and we kind of have already been talking about this. When I say concept needs to be done first. I think that's a for sure. But I think A and T, cat or aim and tone can kind of just be either, or you kind of do both of them at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
tone is the part about cats that asks, what is the emotional landscape of the campaign? And this is where I probably more am talking about SpongeBob versus Gothic
Yeah.
Romanian vampires. Like, if you are going into it goofy, then make it goofy. If you're going into it gritty, make it gritty. If we're
Yeah.
going into political, make it political. But if it's a monster hunter and everyone's like, we just want to hunt monsters, we just want to go sword and board
Dude.
quest, kill something, come back home, get the rewards. Like, let's run that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it can't be political later on, but like definitely like have things like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I actually think the book tells us to circle the tones that you want when it comes to tone.
Yeah, circle what you're looking for, like adventurous and dramatic, things that are absolute, like, hey, we don't want to go down this route. Cross out, goofy, gritty, whimsical. Just make it very clear on what direction are we going as a group that we can all buy into, just so there's not confusion on that.
Yeah, tone. Yeah, like I said, I think we hit a lot on tone. Tone and aim go pretty hand in hand, I think. Like I said,
Now-
it's that emotional feeling.
Now, I
of it.
wouldn't say when it comes to tone, you have to like you can have conflicting tones, but as long as everyone agrees to it, that's fine. Like you can have a like goofy political campaign. It doesn't
Oh, yeah.
sound like you can, but you definitely can have like a what's a goofy political campaign would kind of be very faith friendly, like right, like it would be something
Mhm.
where you're thinking about Alice in Wonderland, like that is a full on political campaign, but it's goofy, right?
Mhm.
Like you can have these mixed tones. I guess I mean, what other mixed tones are there? What
I
sounds
mean-
like fun to play versus mixed tones that sound horrible to play?
I think. I think gritty and goofy can still go together, even though they, it's like just like you're just a couple of bros fighting evil demons, and there's like this whole world is messed up, but you're just dudes hanging out, man.
I mean, that's K-pop Demon Hunters basically at that point.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. What else?
I think it's hard to do lighthearted and gritty. Like I think those don't like really like those feel like very strict antonyms. Like,
Yeah.
is it lighthearted or are we kind of being a little bit more into the thick of it, into like you can't really have lighthearted creature hanging on chains with its heart exposed. Like that's not lighthearted. I don't
Yeah.
know any definition where it could be.
Yeah. I think there's also just some like natural, when you play with the same group for a long time. I know for us, I don't think we've ever really ventured into the romantic. We never really ventured into.
I mean, you have. All I know was your character went and we faded to black. That's all I remember.
Oh, yeah, one time. Okay. Well, anyway, we rarely go down those routes, but we do tend to typically in all of our campaigns across the board, we do stick with like that gritty, adventurous, and that's just kind of where our comfort zone is. Which
Yeah.
I think we lean very zero to hero esque in our group. Like we start as nobodies and rise up as the hero, which hey, I'm part of that group, so obviously I enjoy it. So yeah, that's one thing. Side note, romance is actually, I feel like, something that, well, I guess actually that's a subject matter. We'll get into that next. But romance is a tricky subject to me in TTRPGs.
Yeah, which is going in the subject. That's the last letter of
Yeah.
S at this point. The question for subject really is kind of like, what do you want out of the game, and what do you want to avoid? Which I don't think we can get into this question without also talking about safety tools. So I think we'll just lump all of that together. When it comes to subject, when it comes to safety tools, I think the two biggest ones that I personally use in my games on start playing, and when our home games we use it less because we just know each other. But especially when you're playing with total strangers, lines and veils and X cards are incredibly important. Lines and veils are basically things that are hard stops. It's going to be stuff like racism, homophobia, transphobia. It's going to be stuff like in real world politics. Like that stuff's not going to make it into the game. I think those are the very keen ones. No real world religion, all that stuff. that stuff doesn't get brought in often in lines. Veils are things that you're okay with kind of existing. So it's like, I'm afraid of okay, this is me, Daniel, as a person. I'm afraid of frogs in the real world. I'm okay with them existing. I'm
He's
okay with
never
them being
played a ribbit.
implied. I have
He hates
I
all
have played a
ribbits.
ribbit. I actually have played a
He
ribbit.
hates them all.
Like maybe frog's a bad example, but like
no, yeah, but
one thing would be like I understand bugs exist in the world, but don't have but the soft limit would be don't have a bug crawling up my back.
yeah,
Like
or
that
I mean,
part freaks me out. Like
yeah, Adam
me
kind of hit on
personally.
it earlier too. I mean, he's boats and drowning stresses him out.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that to me is a veil. Like, hey, I'm cool being on a boat. I don't really want to have anyone drown, and like, cool, we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
That's I think that's a good example of a veil.
Another one that gets brought up often is like some people like harm to animals. Oftentimes what harms to animals means is harm to domesticated animals.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to kill a dog,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna kill a wolf if a dire wolf if it's chasing after me, right?
Yeah, and I think it also leans more towards like animal cruelty. Also, like don't torture these make believe animals. Like that's not right. Don't torture and maybe don't torture other people too. I don't know. You play your game, but I'm also love animals more than people, so it touches me though.
So I know we've been bringing up Gothic because I feel like that's the only thing I can think about. But Gothic specifically, like gritty, grim, dark is another one of those subjects. If you're playing in a grim, dark setting like Age of Umbra, like a City of the Crimson Court, like a Kingdom Death Monster, the expectation for lines and veils should be fairly high threshold, where you're basically saying it's like you're gonna see people with limbs ripped in half. You're gonna see a infantile baby who you're gonna be fighting that's like 5 times as large as you with a angler fish glowing light and then like a dislocated jaw. Like you're gonna see these things. I'm sorry if I just like if somebody if I just
I don't like that at all.
sorry if I just freaked someone out. I'm just literally referencing a Kingdom Death Monster. But like if you're playing at that, like lines should be established, and then with those lines being established, if you signed up for the game, I think it's a good thing if you look at that and you're like, I actually am gonna step away from this game. And if you're playing like in a public game, like that is probably the best thing you can do because that's not a game that you want to be into. Now, if you're playing in a home game, you're just like, hey guys, I don't really want to deal with that stuff. You just talk about it, and then it's like, okay, let's change it. Let's change the subject. Maybe we go back to C in concept, and we run through this whole thing again. So I think when it comes to subject matter, lines and veils is a really important one. For just general safety tools, and probably the most important one, I think, for most groups.
Yeah, because it just sets everyone up to have a good time, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, the X card. Sorry, before we move on, I should probably explain the X card because I said it. And so for those who've ever been to a convention, oftentimes there's cards on the table that will have like an X on one side, then O on the other side. Usually you're flipped up on an O means you're like, open, I'm ready, we can keep playing. But at any point, if something makes you feel uncomfortable, you throw an X. I recently, and I'm not going to out the player, but something happened in one of the games that I run on Start Playing where something happened and I stepped the boundary that I didn't know I stepped over. But then at our break, they messaged me, he's like, hey, that thing made me feel a little uncomfortable. And as a GM, especially since I GM professionally, I took a moment before we got back into it and told the players, hey, everyone, this happened. This is a moment. I just want to say this is anonymous. I apologize. And I sent a message and apologized to them. Apologize, but we are just not going to touch that subject anymore. Like that made this person uncomfortable. And I understand that would make someone uncomfortable. And I was the one who overstepped. And then I've also had players who, one person, I think, one player did something to another player, and then I just said, hey, do you need me to message them back and forth? And they handled it like adults. Like they were just like, they messaged each other back and forth, said, hey, this happened. They just wanted to keep me aware of it. And I think the X card, these lines and veils, they're not just for players to GM, they're also players to players. So
I was talking about like romance in like, hey, make sure I think that's something to bring up because I think if you watch Critical Role and these other like big time things like romance happens a lot. They've also been playing together for 15, 20 years and are comfortable with that.
They're also professional actors.
Yeah, they're all professional actors
for a living.
that's something to definitely like run past people. Like, is this okay? Is it okay to maybe just to romance the GM or whatever? You know, maybe you don't want to do player to player, or maybe it's just not your cup of tea in general. And you're like, cool, other people can do it. Just hey, don't do it to my character. That's fine.
Yeah.
I will say I think Daggerheart, at least in my experience, I never really experienced the horror stories of D&D.
There are a lot of them. Just go on
There are a
Reddit.
lot, and there are a lot of them, and I know that, but I haven't heard that much with Daggerheart, which I hope that's just a whole shift in the attitude of TTRPGs in general. Because why we're here to play make believe with our friends. Let's have a good time. You know, why are we gatekeeping different things? Just be understanding, be adults, and have fun. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when things don't go well and a line does get crossed, I think you nailed that, Daniel. Take a little sip of some humility and just
Take a beat.
hey, sorry. That makes so many things can be
Yeah.
fixed with a sincere apology and just not digging your heels in, saying, well, you know what? I think we should be able to do that
Yeah.
because XYZ. Just a little bit of humility goes a really long way, especially in a group with other adults that you're trying to be respectful toward and have fun together.
Which I think all of this to say with the whole, all this with subject and safety tools to say, find a good group. If there's like, and find a good group that you can trust. Because I think the one thing that helps a lot for being open is just being able to like, well, be open. And you're already being open by playing pretend with other people at the table with polyhedral dice that roll and determine your success or your failures. So it's like it's already absurd what we're doing. And so one, acknowledge that, but if you don't feel safe, like I think what would really suck is if the player overstepped and if the GM intentionally is trying to get a riot out of the player. Now that's different between like the GM like mechanically or playfully in the game mechanic trying to get a ride out of the player, causing them stress like that, like mechanical stress. But if the GM is like actively doing that, then that's really where you as the player forego everything about the game, even though the session 0 is great, and just be like, I think I'm out of this one.
Taking my ball and I'm going home.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Go home. You can go
protect
home.
yourselves.
Log out.
Protect yourselves. Go find a group that is you're gonna vibe with. If you're looking for one, we run games at Bladebound.
We do run games. Yeah.
So check us out.
Run games. Check us out on our Patreon. I run games and start playing. AJ does too.
I'm actually going to start picking up more.
Yeah.
Just with the way my schedule and life is going. But yeah.
So
we run games.
With that, I think with that, Cats is essentially done. Safety tools, I think we're all get. I think one thing that's important, and I kind of want to take a section. I put this in our own notes on the back. I took an important, like, what questions you should be asking at the session. But I do want to take a quick side note about what the GM's job at session 0 is. The GM's job at session 0. Now, albeit there's a lot of the presentation part that will happen. As a GM, you are presenting information, you're presenting campaigns, you're presenting how the world works, but your main job is not the presenter. Your main job is kind of more the facilitator. Your job's to keep the conversation moving. Your job's to dig deeper into questions when something interesting surfaces. Like if somebody says something as a GM, and other players, and I love the community that we've built, because I will see players who will say, hey, I have a follow-up question. Can you answer what that means for you? Because and this is where I think building characters together rather than building characters separate is so much better, is because I see players now who are more familiar with narrative-based systems or just more familiar with role-playing ask, hey, can you answer what that is? Because I think that might tie into my backstory. And then as a GM, I'm like, awesome. I don't even have to try to get the story to work. You're already writing the story for me. And the GM really is there to facilitate and also listen, because the reality is you're building the story around their characters. And I said this earlier, you're not building them into the story you've already prefabricated. You probably have an idea of what you want, and that's why you're presenting it a little bit. But you're writing the story based off of what they say.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Build it together. It's a lot more fun that way too. Because I mean, multiple times I've had characters like, oh, hey, yeah, we decided after talking about our backstories, hey, we vibe. We actually came to the group together. We did this and this. Or
I mean, that literally happened in our last session. AJ, you were the one who picked up off of
Mhm.
Adam's backstory, and you guys just started going at it. I mean, I don't
Oh,
know if you guys
yeah.
want to share
Yeah.
like your current backstories for a home game, but like because
Sure.
I
Oh,
don't actually
yeah.
remember who started sharing and then who yes-anded.
So I think I started. I'm playing a half fairy, half human. We're in the Age of Umbra. That is the campaign frame we ended up picking.
Something.
And yeah, I had left my last Sacred Flame colony thing, blah blah blah, other backstory, and showed up to this new place, kind of sneaking in and trying to stay incognito. And AJ's character caught me with my disguise down.
Yeah. Yeah, because my old character, I built a gargoyle, actually. He's like Clink and Giant.
That ain't so cool.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. And I pitched it to be like, hey, this, like, before the whole Age of Umbra happened, like, our starting town is like where I was as just a statue and then came to life to whatever. So it just kind of made sense, like, oh, I'm now the watcher on the wall and see someone trying to sneak in, and it kind of built a pre-relationship, if you will, before the campaign starts. And so, yeah, you get ideas that kind of work like that and help you build your own backstory. 2, you give the GM stuff to work with. And 3, you're already tying together with other characters. Nope. Yeah. There you go.
Which I
mean,
think as a GM, the important part there is as soon as a player says something, if you're an active GM, you hear that and you're like, okay, like because for me, because we didn't have a starting location set up, like we just knew we wanted to play in the Age of Umbra setting. We knew the tones of what we wanted, and I didn't really have a starting town. But as soon as you started talking about like I found you here, I was like, okay, cool. I got to come up with this town that you all came up with, and then like I asked some questions. I think afterwards, like,
Yeah.
where did you find it? Where did you find them? Was it in the cathedral? Was it underground? Then we
Mhm.
found out through you two talking that there was actually a hidden church or something, right, underneath the city or underneath
Yeah.
the
It
town,
was like built on ruins of a church,
and I was
of
like,
an old
"Cool,
church.
I'm gonna take that and let's write that in the story." And then that is going to be we haven't played session 1 yet, but that is
Haven't played
going to
session 1 yet.
be where our session starts. Like, you have just finished and throughout more questions between the other 2 players in our game, we got to a point where it's like, "Oh, you guys saved this town from something." And
Mhm.
so now we get to pick up right where we left off, where you saved this town. This town's incredibly thankful to you 2, but what is causing a disruption in the town that you now have to address?
All right, so we've talked about a lot of different things. So let's put it all kind of together in one thing that we can look at. So we've got a checklist.
Which we'll
Pop.
put in the put in the Patreon.
So this is the checklist of how to do this, how to do a session 0. So number 1, don't skip it. Do it. So step
Yeah.
1 is to do it.
Yeah, even 1 hour.
Yeah.
1 hour is better than no hours.
Yeah.
Honestly, to me, session 0s that go for 3 hours are too much.
I agree.
I like when it's a good hour to 2 hours. You get enough.
If you know the people. If you know the
Yeah.
people.
Yes. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
If you're meeting for the first time, maybe 3 hours is
Maybe take
just
some
enough
time.
time.
Yeah.
Step 2, use cats. Remember the concept, aim, tone, subject. If you need those, we'll have them on our Patreon, or you can use Google, or you can look at the Daggerheart core rulebook.
Page 169. Nice.
169 in the book.
Nice.
Nice.
So not all 4 of those have to be like picture perfect, but try to hit at least in some regard each and every one of them. Step 3, use your lines and veils. Make sure that can be a shared document so that everyone can see it and everybody can do whatever Daniel's doing right now.
I'm not doing anything.
It's a veil.
It's a veil.
It's a
It's fine. Use the X card or
this one makes sense.
Yeah, some form of it. If you don't like X's, you can use triangles or whatever. I don't know. But just
What do people have
normalize
against
that.
X's? Are we hating on X's now? Is that the new thing?
It's
Uh,
This is why we
Screw
don't do
X.
checklists. This is why we don't
Yeah.
normally do checklists, guys.
Yeah, screw
Yeah.
X's, dude. I hate them.
Oh.
Bring back the Z.
Step 5, ask real questions. Don't just lecture as this is from the GM's perspective, ask questions to try to actually get information and not just lecture your players, just more facilitate their conversations. And the 6th and final step is to write down what the players give you. Their answers are your campaign.
Not just for the GM. The other players
Yes.
should write down who the other people are at the table.
Write a short little bio of what the other characters are. Maybe just like a hey, they're halfling rogue,
Jeff, Boblin the
quirky,
Goblin,
chef, you know,
why
whatever.
is he here?
Yeah, exactly.
So something that I do for our connection questions is I write down everyone that I'm involved in.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time that I played this game, I only wrote down the ones that I asked. I was like, okay, I need to ask, pick a player. Okay, look through the list, ask a question. They come up with the answer. I write it down. And then somebody would get back around to ask me a question. I'd make up some answer to the question, and then it's gone. So for me, I'm like, if I'm involved in it or my character's involved in that connection question, I'm writing it down so that I can see it and remember it. And that kind of helps shape from the eyes of my character what my relationship looks like with these other characters. That's free.
So
Free.
I do want to do one thing. It's not in the notes, so it's kind of surprising you guys. From this checklist, I want us to grade how well our session 0 went recently. Because we did not fully do it this way. I run games on Start Playing It different than I run our home game. So some of these things did get skipped, but let's just run first. Number 1, did we do a session 0?
We did.
Yes, we did it.
Yes. Thumbs up.
Did we run cats? I think we did.
Not saying cats. I don't think there's anything we missed in it.
Yeah, I think we did. I don't think we spelled it out. I think running cats is going to be the standard moving forward. But I think we did hit everything.
I'd give us like a A- or a B+ on cats.
Like
I think
thumbs up and just
I think so.
Like a
We
little
got
hit
cats.
it, but like
we got cat and then we got lowercase cats.
I think we got small s is what we got.
Small s.
I think we hit everything else good. I think the subject matter maybe could have been a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's also our home group, which kind of leads into the Lions and Veils and X cards.
Yeah.
We didn't do that, but we've been playing together for so long. We kind of know where those are just with our group. So that's a little bit different.
5. Did we ask
Ask-
real questions?
What's a
You
slime?
know what? I just
Are you a
realized now.
slime or an ooze?
We
or-
did not run the C properly. C did not get run properly. I'm bringing us back down to a B because I had to ask so many clarifying questions in our home group for specifically 2 people, but then Adam also came in not knowing a backstory or having any concepts except for sorcerer.
and
We asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, and to be fair to our other 2 guys, they're great. They don't do this as much as we do.
No, that's also fair. That's also fair.
To be fair to them, we do this all the time, and so we're in it. They're not in it like we are, so it's they're great.
Yeah,
love playing with them.
They're gonna want us and hate us,
even if they don't.
Fine.
Even if he wants to be a vampire, half vampire, quarter vampire, or a walking slime, who knows? I don't know. I still don't actually know what he decided on, but that's fine. We'll figure it out. That's what session 0.5 is for.
Last one, write down what players give you. I mean, as a GM, I wrote down what
I did not do that.
So
I'm giving myself thumbs down on that one. I did not.
So I think overall we did a B.
B,
okay,
B
job.
minus.
Yeah.
B.
Don't do what we did. Do what we say.
Like I said, that comes from we are taking a little bit of advantage of our friendships and our relationships. So.
We also did this over breakfast, lunch, because we all woke up at 11 on a trip. This is a mess. That being said, overall, when it comes to session 0s, session 0 isn't I would honestly say session 0 isn't just like something you do formally. This is the first session of your campaign because it kind of decides the story you want to go in. It talks about the who you were before we even got to the table. If you skip it, you're kind of just improvising like you do in a one shot. But if you do it well, you basically have your whole first session written out. Like as a GM, I think there's some things that I still need to run over, but most session zeros that I run, I'm basically like, cool, the whole first act's written for me.
Yeah. And yeah, just make sure when you're writing your backstories, don't give your character a family because your GM will kill them.
Yeah, I will kill them. I will kill them, or I will have them kill you.
Yeah. Yes. So if you want to catch this episode early, or you want to go deeper into what we've talked about here, or just about anything Daggerheart related, join our Patreon. There you're going to get access to our Sage Touch videos early. You're going to get access to infographics of different character builds, of show notes that we do here. We'll give you access. Like for this one, you're going to get a infographic of cats and how to use it.
Just cats.
Just
Normal
cats.
animal
Just
cats.
Yeah, they're just me pictures
It's
of cute
pictures
cats
of
everywhere.
cats.
But yeah, our Patreon is the great way to support us. So if you enjoy our content, we greatly appreciate it.
The other thing is our Discord. You can hop on the Discord, and if you don't want to just talk to the three of us or listen to us talk, there's 200 odd other people on that Discord that want to talk to you, and they want to talk about Daggerheart and games and their experiences and your experiences and give advice and take advice and all the other good stuff that happens on the Discord, which that link is also going to be below. You can join that Discord for free.
And with that being said, everyone, that's this episode of Sage Touch. So I'm sure we'll see you at the next session 0. And as always, stay Sage Touched.